And now, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set and we are here. This is it. The time has come. I said the time has come. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring right here in London, England, the fight starts now! Introducing first the challenger. He fights out of the red corner and wears the white trunks with the gold trim. He scales 7 stone, 13 pounds, 6 ounces. His professional record, a perfect one. 15 fights, 15 victories, 4 of them coming by way of knockout. Peleando fuera Santiago, Chile. Here is the reigning and undefeated WBO Latino and WBA Federal Flyweight Champion, presentando el orgullo de lo Barnechea, Andrés Campos. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the gray trunks with the red spiderweb trim. He scaled 7 stone, 13 pounds, 1 ounce. His professional record, also a perfect one. 19 fights, 19 victories, 4 of them coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he makes his 4th defense of his world title, originally from Croydon, London, and now living, training, and fighting out of Sheffield, England. Introducing the reigning, defending, undefeated IBF Flyweight Champion of the World, Showtime, Sonny Edwards!
So both boxers called to centre ring.
Okay guys, spoke to you both in the dressing room. You both know what I expect. Keep it clean, break straight away when told. Both of you want your heads in close. Good luck to you both. Touch gloves. Well done, boys.
So 2 undefeated fighters facing off for the IBF Flyweight Championship of the World as Showtime, Sonny Edwards, preparing to make the 4th defense of his title against the man seeking to become Chile's first world boxing champion, Andrés Campos.
Round 1.
And we are underway, 12 3-minute rounds for the IBF Flyweight Championship of the World between the champion, Sonny Edwards from Croydon, now based at the Steel City Gym in Sheffield, and he's making a characteristically flamboyant start to this, his 4th title defense, literally playing matador, looking over his shoulder as Campos is firing shots that are invariably missing. There he raises up both arms as though he's holding an imaginary cape and just looks to his right as Campos was short of the range and off the mark. But there Campos with a sharp shooting jab to the body. He wearing a white gladiator's tunic trimmed with gold, compression shorts underneath, and now he's looking to get busy, pinning Showtime Sonny Edwards to the ropes, testing him to both head and body, slamming a left hand into the body and then right hands repeatedly going over onto the chin of Sonny Edwards. But Sonny Edwards, unfazed, just put his elbows on the top rope as though he's just lounging for a moment. But Andrés Campos here on business, dominating centre ring and going forward behind a sharp shooting left jab to the body and a spearing right cross as well. There he tries a right cross left hook combination. The left hook did get through. Sonny Edwards now focused on business, accommodating Campos with an exchange, beautifully picked double right hand, and then combination punching from the champion beneath the elbows of Campos. After showboating for the first minute and 20 seconds of this opening round, Sonny Edwards now getting serious because Campos is here to fight, pinning Sonny Edwards on the ropes, a figure 12 over on the far side of the ring and getting to work. Edwards, though, remaining composed, spins off the ropes, gets back to centre ring and fought his way back to centre ring. Beautiful parry with the right glove from Sonny Edwards to knock down the attempted left jab of Andrés Campos. But Andrés Campos scoring effectively to the body once again. Beautiful punch picking from the champion in between the black high-held gloves of Andrés Campos. There, a liver shot kidney shot, excuse me, from Andres Campos, because his attempted straight right hand went around the rear of Sonny Edwards' back. Edwards coming forward, now holding his left glove down on his quad. Thought about throwing a lead right hand, but didn't commit to the shot. But Andres Campos, a busy figure in the first 2 minutes 20 of this opening round. Nice left uppercut off the ropes from Sonny Edwards, who is being put under pressure of both the physical and the fistic variety from Andres Campos. Sonny Edwards, with his characteristic beautiful movement, catapults off the ropes and scores with a good right jab, but then uppercut success on the inside for Andres Campos. Good double left jab, then right hand to the body in response from the champion. And by virtue of sheer industry alone and effective aggression being put forth with 10 seconds remaining in this opening round, well, Andres Campos has probably done enough to take the round. Beautiful lead left hook from Sonny Edwards, and then a beautiful combination. Right hand to the body, right hand to the head. Did I speak too soon? Because Sonny Edwards produces a magnificent conclusion to the round. But Andres Campos showing that he is not overawed by the reputation or the accomplishments of Sonny Edwards. A spirited display from the challenger.
And you know what, Ronald, it's what I expected from the kid. You know, we said earlier on, he's young, he's fearless, he doesn't know any better. He's going to carry on doing that. Sonny is, in theory, going to start measuring him. He was put under pressure to Sonny. Was he caught and hurt? Yeah, occasionally he was certainly not hurt. Then he came back with his own shot, which, Galal, some of Sonny's shots missed when he let his hands go as well.
Yeah, you can see he's holding his feet a bit now. He's, you know, trying to put power into his shots. Sometimes you just got to do what you're good at.
Yeah,
and
that's a really good point.
Yeah, and I think maybe Sonny's doing the opposite sometimes, but we'll see then.
He does that. He's contrary. If you said to him, Sonny, you're going to have a fight, then I'm going to box. You say, Sonny, you're going to box, then I'm going to have a fight. So who knows what he's going to do? He might do all 4 things in this round.
Well, so keen to re-enter the fray was Andres Campos that he left the confines of the red corner without his mouthpiece. Realized it, he bit down and realized he was biting. Tooth on tooth, turned back, had the mouthpiece reinserted, and now the bell sounds to begin round number 2. The boxers exchanging jabs. It was a double left jab to the body from Andres Campos, followed by about 5 jabs without reply from Showtime Sonny Edwards, a few of which did get through. Now the action is approaching the ropes on the far side of the ring. Our commentary position is at figure 5 on the clock face, right next to the red corner. Sharp shooting left jab to the body once again is an effective shot. Jolting left jab from Sonny Edwards. The impact was doubled up because Andres Campos was so committed to his offense. He stopped him dead in his tracks. A really solid lead left hand from the champion. And now Sonny Edwards, just on the edge of punching range, moving laterally left and right, darting on quick feet. Possesses such fantastic footwork and ring craft, does Sonny Edwards. Parries that lead hand once again by knocking it down, but then a straight right hand to the body does get through from Andres Campos. And just as Steve Bunn suggested he would, Andres Campos remaining committed to the task. He hasn't been given much respect by Sonny Edwards, who said at the top table at the press conference earlier in the week, I don't know what this guy's done to get the fight. He's sliding into my DMs. Beautiful double left jab and then left hook from Sonny Edwards, followed by another left jab, but good defenses with the gloves from Andres Campos to get himself together and bat some of those shots away with effective parries. But Sonny Edwards now on the front foot, shooting out a lead left hand, jab then hook. Good work to the body from Andres Campos. Keeps the attack going. It's a 2, 3, 4 phase attack. And while Sonny Edwards had his back just touching the ropes, Campos continued to dig away and is landing with scoring shots. Edwards just speaking to Howard Foster and saying, well, come on a minute, this guy's holding me. Beautiful counter, reverse 1-2 from Sonny Edwards, who's now operating as a southpaw, leading with the right hand and right foot. So not much respect was given from Sonny Edwards, the champion and the director of Andres Campos, and now Howard Foster calls time and does speak to the challenger about excessive holding. So, minute remaining, Sonny Edwards remaining southpaw, scores with a right-left combination. Left jab scoring shot to the body from Andres Campos, who is remaining direct and straight ahead. He's defensively responsible, but he's taking it to the champion in this, the biggest fight of his career. 2 men exchanging jabs to the body. Neither of them found the range as they were short. Beautiful left-right combination from Edwards, who was up the south, who was orthodox, then changes back southpaw. Now he's orthodox once again, spinning on the edge of range. He wasn't able to follow up. Campos boring in with the head as he looks to target the body of the champion once again. Final 20 seconds of this second round. Sonny Edwards with a southpaw left cross to the body, followed by a lead right hand out of the port-sided stance. Campos now operating out of the shell defense, firing away with his right cross. Sonny Edwards check left hook as he goes walkabout after landing the shot once again. And again, it's not just the eye-catching shots that he lands. When he emphasizes it by walking away and showboating, it looks to get into the mind of the opponent, and it's a more resonant shot.
It's a more resonant shot. It sends a clear message to any judges who are maybe not sure about the round. It's an old Cuban trick. One big shot, stand back, everyone sees the shot. I thought that right hand was a great shot. I think it may have hurt Campos. Not stunned him, not really hurt him, but he certainly recognised it. Sonny did there exactly what you said he would do, Galal. He started to move his feet. He did what Sonny did, and he did what Sonny does best.
Yeah, I think Grant would have told him, you know, move your feet, do what you need to do to win. Not just try and please anyone watching. I think it was a good round.
It was a good round. It was a good round for Sonny. Campos is flat out just to stay in this fight, you know, and to be competitive, but he's getting picked off.
I agree.
Seconds out, round 3.
While Sonny Edwards rose up off his stall in the blue corner, at the call of seconds out, Andres Campos was helped off his stall, given a final slug of water as the bell sounded to begin round number 3. Sonny Edwards up on his toes, back as an orthodox boxer now. Beautiful counter right hand. And again, he changed stance, so he ended up as a southpaw. And then he makes Campos miss, and he's looking over his shoulders once again to emphasize his defensive superiority. Sonny Edwards living up to his nickname of Showtime because he is showboating, not as a mark of disrespect, but to try and discourage Andres Campos, who is a straight-ahead boxer. He's demonstrated his punch-picking prowess, particularly to the body, but the question was, could he transfer it to this world level, the biggest fight of his career? He's acquitting himself effectively so far, but Sonny Edwards showing moments of quality as he looks to bamboozle the challenger, competing in his first 12-round contest, his first bout over the championship distance. And again, Campos remaining on the front foot, lead left hook followed by a charging right hand to the body, with Sonny Edwards just trapped on the ropes over on the far side of the ring. Now the action is back at centre ring after the intervention of referee Howard Foster. Feinting with his feet and dipping at the knees is Campos, fires in a left jab to the body which scores. Sonny Edwards on the back foot, looking to play counter-puncher. There he shot out a left jab, but Campos, credit to his ring IQ and intelligence, he's beginning to change things up and proffer feints once again. Sonny Edwards with a look over his left shoulder after he left. Campos swinging at the night air, his right hand missed, and Campos was looking over the top rope into the crowd. I say over the top rope, remember these are flyweight boxers, and top rope is about shoulder level to these diminutive warriors. When you consider that towering heavyweight such as the 6'9" Tyson Fury step over the top rope, that gives you an idea as to the difference in stature between these 8-stone marbles and the supersized heavyweights of today. Andres Campos stepping on the gas, pinning Sonny Edwards in his own corner, but Sonny Edwards boxing magnificently out of the confined space of his own corner, now back in the space of centre ring. Sonny Edwards so difficult to ruffle. Beautiful counter right hand again, catches Campos on a fully committed front foot of foray to try and get himself into range. There's another counter shot from Sonny Edwards, which is being exacerbated by the forward movement of Campos. It's doubling up the impact and stopping him in his tracks. Final 30 seconds of the third round as the pattern continues. Edwards boxing effectively off the ropes near the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. He's approaching figure 3 on the clock face, sliding towards Campos' red corner. And again, even though his back is to the ropes, Sonny Edwards bobbing and weaving and slipping and sliding and finding holes in the defense of Campos, in the defense of Campos, while Campos is letting his hands go. So Sonny Edwards, oh, beautiful two-shot combination, pings the head. He turned it into a 4-shot salvo, finished by a final right-hand lead. And Sonny Edwards just beginning to show his quality and put a gap between his artistry and the industry of Campos.
Absolutely, Ron, and there's an interesting thing. Okay, we know Sonny's not a big banger. Only 4 stoppages in his 19 wins. Okay, we know he's not a big banger. But you keep getting hit with shots as you're turning into them. Big right hands, big looping left hooks. They take a toll. You can get hit with shots through your gloves as you're bulldozing forward all day long. But it's when you get hit with odd shots. I thought he was opening up a little bit there, Galal, in that round. I thought Sonny was starting to look for good shots.
Yeah, he's getting his rhythm now, like, again, from the Chev fight, you know, he's finding his groove. I think Campos is probably trying a bit too hard. He's not a front foot fighter from the looks of things, but he's got to go forward. He's got to try and get the win.
And also, Ronald, at the end of that round there, long time since a world flyweight title fight got the crowd screaming and shouting at the end of a round. We've got to go back to Charlie Magby's days in this same ring.
Indeed, Champagne Charlie. Owned that sports shop down in East London. What a WBC world champion he was. Here, Sonny Edwards holds the IBF version. Hasn't had a stoppage win for 4.5 years. Oh, beautiful punch picking. It's first and third boxing from Edwards, who is operating as a southpaw. But good burst of action to the body from Campos as the two men stood flat-footed, rooted their feet into the canvas and got some tremendous leverage onto their punches. So referee Howard Foster just separates the two. Back on the front foot with a scoring left jab to the body is Andres Campos, who again is a fully committed display, getting the very best out of himself and not overawed by the stage or the occasion. Just his third fight outside of outside of his homeland. One of his fights was in Argentina, the other one in Australia. Here he is in the UK as he's holding the left hand of Sonny Edwards once again. Edwards just with some non-verbal communication to the direction of Howard Foster, saying, listen, the challenger's holding me. Now Edwards back in the southpaw stance. Oh, beautiful counter, left uppercut, slipping to his left, Sonny Edwards, and digging in the uppercut underneath. He is such an exquisite punch picker. There's a right hand to the body out of the southpaw stance. Same shot once again. It was a glancing blow by the short ribs. And that's the shot George Groves used to take out Jamie Cox in this very arena during the World Boxing Super Series. Now Sonny Edwards showing that he's not averse to the rough stuff, putting his head into the cheek of Andres Campos while bombing away with his right hand over the top. Now, referee Howard Foster's called time, has made his way over to the blue corner and is saying to Grant Smith, Sonny Edwards' trainer, listen, you're leaning on the ring apron and you're speaking too loudly. Stop with the instructions. On the resumption, it's a beautiful right hand over the top from Sonny Edwards. And now punch picking with his back near the neutral corner turnbuckle, but Campos continuing to press, continuing to take it to the champion, exhaling as he's hauling in punches to the belt line of Sonny Edwards. But Sonny Edwards so composed, so cool in the neutral corner, not ruffled in any way, shape or form despite the pressure that Campos is looking to apply. Sonny Edwards moving laterally to his left, double left hand, left jab, left hook. Again, scoring long left jab to the body from Campos. And when you've got a fluid, evasive fighter like Sonny Edwards, the body going to move far less than the head. And that is what Campos, credit to his ring IQ, is targeting for the most part. But again, there's not much subtlety or guile behind his work. There he tries the counter right hand to the body, but was off the mark. Another untidy tangle ensues, and referee Howard Foster prizes the two men apart. 30 seconds remaining in this fourth round. Sonny Edwards operating as a southpaw, counter left cross with a scoring shot, and then picking the lead right hand to the body effectively. There's an altogether more forceful right hand fired into the abdomen of Sonny Edwards from the challenger, and Campos rubbing his head beneath the bearded chin of Sonny Edwards. There's the 10-second clapper. Sonny Edwards continuing to operate as a lefty. Right hand and right leg in front. We're going to head over to the blue corner and listening to the instructions from Grant Smith that he's issuing to the champion.
Run to it now, don't you? Spit this, spit it, spit it. Keep pushing with that lead hand and then he'll walk. Right, what's going to work now is these little stomps we're all working on. Yeah? Knows these little stomps? Set the foot. Set the foot. Yeah? And
3 rounds clear though, yeah?
Yeah.
Sensible advice, set the trap, let the single shots go. That might work, planting his feet as Galal said a couple of rounds ago. They're certainly going to work. He needs to plant his feet here, otherwise he's just going to run out a 12-round winner. I think he can get to this guy, Galal, if he plants his feet.
All right, he's going to come on now. He's got to.
Yeah, I think he's got to plant his feet, but again, it's just Campos needs to go forward. Sonny's going to box. If there's any chance of Campos winning this, he has to go forward.
So as well as Grant Smith giving the instructions, Dalton Smith, the British champion, was on the perimeter of the boxing ring, holding an ice pack to the neck of Sonny Edwards. It's a very tight gym up there at the Steel City Gym in Sheffield. Into the 5th round we go. As Sonny Edwards, we mentioned his last stoppage was 4 years, 2 months ago. It was right here at Wembley Arena when he stopped Pedro Matos in the 8th round of a contest scheduled for 10. But since that time, it has been unanimous points decision victories all the way, including that breakout world title win over the incredibly tough Maruti Ntolane. at the York Hall in Bethnal Green in 2021. Here he's controlling things effectively, Campos remaining a spirited contender and challenger. But despite his industry, he's not matching the artistry of the champion, and very few boxers in and around his weight class can, truth be told. Wonderful mover. And as Steve Bunce has suggested, he is keen to become a breakout star, a crossover star. Oh, beautiful lead left jab from Sonny Edwards, who's back in the orthodox stance. Left hand around his belt line, a half cover guard, right hand across his pecs, leaving his chin as an open target, but he's backing his reflexes to evade it, and Campos is mainly targeting the body. But remember, Joe Cordina faked an attack to the body when uncoiling that peach of a right hand to KO Kenichi Ogawa. Andres Campos with 4 KO victories, identical number to Sonny Edwards in his perfect ledger of 15 wins out of 15. Oh, there's a cracking right cross onto the chin of Sonny Edwards from Andres Campos, but Edwards just rode the shot, was able to lean back as it was landing to take a little bit off it. And then there's some veteran gamesmanship from Sonny Edwards, because his hands were being held by Andres Campos, but the way that Edwards was trying to release them, well, you'd think that they were being clamped in a vice. Howard Foster not falling for it and saying to Sonny Edwards, get on with it. Minute remaining in this 5th round. Sonny Edwards remaining a dynamic figure up on his toes. Nice lead left uppercut to the body of the advancing Andres Campos. The action is at center ring. Sonny Edwards currently moving moving clockwise, but then counterclockwise. He's moving to his right, and Andres Campos, oh, look at this. They've walked to the opposite corner. Sonny Edwards pulling a Lomachenko, marching to the red corner just to our commentary position, and says to Campos, okay, bring it to me. Campos did and landed with a right cross, and he looks to target the right cross to the body once again. Sonny Edwards looking to engage in a physical short-range encounter. He's back out of the red corner now, where he walked voluntarily. Beautiful left cross between the defenses of Campos out of the southpaw stance. Edwards remaining as a southpaw. Good right jab upstairs from Sonny Edwards after he took a stiff shot to the body, and he's backing up Campos now, who's always boxing in an avalanche, being touched up by a blizzard of leather to both head and body, as Sonny Edwards with a shoulder shimmy as he swaggers back to his red corner. An incident-filled round, but Sonny Edwards again showing the quality that he possesses in so many facets of the game, Steve.
I think Sonny was insulted when Campos backed off and held his hands out as they come in and have a fight. Because, you know, let's get it right. Sonny's the champion. He can do what he likes in there, okay? So it's down to the challenger, even if he's frustrated, even if he's wildly frustrated, like Roberto Duran was all those years ago against Sugar Ray. It's down to the challenger to do the business. So then Sonny, at the end, really backs him up. That's the most aggressive you're going to see Sonny Edwards, that last 15 seconds. That might have been the turning point in the fight, to be honest with you, Galau.
Yeah, I think it hurt Campos there, which you don't say that many times, Sonny, but no disrespect. But yeah, I think he had a great finish to the round there, and needs to keep it going.
So we're going to the 6th round. Andres Campos, well, again, Sonny Edwards, not a big puncher, but he hits Campos so often and in such quick succession that Campos just had his boxing stance disrupted. The action is over in the blue corner on the far side of the ring, Sonny Edwards' corner, as Edwards just content to remain against the strands. Hard right hand dug into his ribcage from Campos, but Sonny Edwards keeping his wits about him, slipping, sliding, moving his gloves around his chin and his temple, turning his head to keep it out of harm's way. Campos, there's a good right hook landed to the temple of the champion. But again, Sonny Edwards just pecking and poking out of the corner. He's inviting this pressure by remaining in the corner and just penetrating the defenses with a cluster of buckshots of leather out of that blue, off that blue turnbuckle. So Campos continuing to press, and there is nothing wrong with this man's desire or competitive spirit. And you get the sense that he is fighting with everything that he has, leaving no stone unturned in his preparation. Hasn't had the same quality of preparation, dare I venture to suggest, as Sonny Edwards, but here he is on this World Championship stage in his first 12-rounder, and he is showing Sonny Edwards no respect whatsoever. But Sonny Edwards has earned his respect with the moments of quality that he has produced. With 30, just approaching the halfway stage of this 6th round, And this one far more keenly contested than the closing stages of the 5th, where Stoney Edwards put a huge gap between himself and the world title challenger. Well, Stoney Edwards not so much taking a breather, but he's content to box off the ropes, and when he confines himself like that, even though he's showing his punch-picking prowess from a confined position, it brings Campos right back into the fight. There he lands a counter right hand, and then success to both head and body. But Stoney Edwards accommodating him, flashes a grin of his gum shield as Campos lands a right uppercut with the 2-minute center ring and engaging in toe-to-toe exchanges. And Campos holding his own and indeed getting the better of this exchange because he scored with 2 right uppercuts without reply. Stoney Edwards is back now on the ropes at figure 12, directly opposite our commentary position on the far side of the ring. Not flustered, and there he's scoring with 2 right crosses. Is Stoney Edwards, right hand to the body. 40 seconds remaining. Stoney Edwards, for my money, would need a big conclusion to this round to turn it around, because Campos, by virtue of being in the chest of Stoney Edwards, has outworked the champion for the majority of this 6th round, and he's landed with some eye-catching punches as well. Stoney Edwards spins to southpaw in the space of center ring on top of the logo, just on the edge of punching range. Campos looking to press, almost countered by a southpaw left, but it was partially blocked by the black gloved fist of Campos. So 10-second clapper sounds, closing seconds of the round. Nice right hand slung into the body by Stoney Edwards out of the orthodox stance. Now he's back southpaw, and by virtue of the sheer industry produced by the challenger in that 6th round, I give that 6th round to Andres Campos, Steve.
And I agree with you. You know what? When Sonny was talking on Thursday and asking the question, what's this guy doing here? He's not done anything. He doesn't deserve a shot. The translator was talking to Campos, and Campos was just smiling. You know what, Galal? Through 6 rounds, he's earned his right to be sharing the ring with Sonny Edwards. Even if he's losing, he's earned his right.
Definitely, and like I said earlier, I joked about sizing him up, and Campos is a great fighter, and he hurt Sonny in that round.
Yeah, he's a good little fighter, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good little fighter, you know. He's not a many knockouts, but he's hurt Sonny a few times and hurt him. Sonny needs to watch out, and I think it was a good round for Campos.
It was a good round for Campos. So I've got it 4-2 in rounds, Ronald. That's how I've got it.
I've got it exactly the same way.
That's interesting.
So we go into the second half of the contest. Both men with 4 knockouts on their professional ledger. Stoney Edwards a perfect 19-0. Andres Campos 15-0, albeit at a lower level. This is the 4th defense of his IBF World Flyweight title for Croydon Stoney Edwards. He's now based in Sheffield. He's back as an orthodox boxer now, and just maintaining the gap between himself and Campos. Campos pushing forwards off that back foot and shooting that left jab into the body. Stoney Edwards moving counterclockwise. Again, Campos drops his hands and says, come on, stand and fight. Remember, Andy Ruiz did that in the closing stages of his rematch with Anthony Joshua, when Andy Ruiz came in so heavy he couldn't close the gap against Anthony Joshua, who regained the title with a display of back foot boxing. Campos demonstrating that same gesture here in the 7th round as he did in the 5th round. And when Stoney Edwards does hold his feet, as he did in the 6th round, beautiful check right hand from Stoney Edwards, who's now back as a southpaw boxer. But Campos again demonstrating terrific energy, terrific conditioning, bustling, bobbing and weaving after the champion, who moves counterclockwise with a check right hook out of the southpaw stance. Fantastic ankles being demonstrated by Stoney Edwards, who is dodging, darting left and right, changing direction at high speed. Campos coming forward, not in straight lines, but he doesn't possess the dexterity of movement that's being demonstrated by the champion. Beautiful counter right hook out of the southpaw stance from Stoney Edwards after making Campos miss with his lead left hand on a forward foray. And again, Edwards just increasing the gap behind quick feet and a wonderful radar to make Campos fall short. But Campos kept the attack going, but found Stoney Edwards very difficult to catch as he ghosted away counterclockwise to his right once again. The boxers in the middle of the center of the boxing ring. Exchange of left jabs where Campos has appeared to be far heavier. Right hand over the top landed by Campos. Stoney Edwards again works to 3 his left hand, which was pinned beneath the right arm of Campos. Minute remaining in this 7th round. Treble left hand from Stoney Edwards. Left jab, then 2 left uppercuts. No real potency on the punches, but they were scoring shots. As Campos pushing his way forwards off his back foot once again. Sonny Edwards with his back on the ropes, inviting pressure, but he lands 2 shots, the final of which was a right hand to the body before ghosting away to his right, and then scores with a beautiful counter left jab. Left jab to the head, right cross to the body from Sonny Edwards. Campos left swinging at the night air once again. And Sonny Edwards just piling up the points here in this 7th round and proving very fast and difficult to catch cleanly for Campos. Beautiful counter left hand once again. It was a bent arm corkscrew jab landed by Sonny Edwards, who's now got his hands around his kneecaps, operating as a southpaw, but that a moment of quality. Sonny Edwards flashes his gum shield with a look over his shoulder as he strikes his way back to the blue corner.
Sonny did what Sonny does best there. He made what had been a few hard rounds, he made it a simple round. Just a bit of movement, kept it long, and poor Campos just found himself in no man's land being picked off there. That was one of Sonny's easiest rounds.
Yeah, I think that's what he needs to do. He needs to move round, do again. It's what I said earlier. He needs to do what he's good at instead of trying to hold his feet. He just needs to move, pick him off, and you see how easy it was there.
I mean, he really did there once he started to move. And, you know, I wanted to see a little bit more, but I mean, maybe I'm being harsh, because I'm looking at Campos and I'm seeing an incredibly tough young kid who's also not going to be overawed by the occasion, Galal, and he's not going to fall over, is he, this kid Campos? He's here to fight.
Giving his all as well.
Second out, round 8.
So we move into round number 8. Campos sprinting out of his corner and in pursuit of Sonny Edwards once again, who is jabbing on the back foot, moving clockwise to his left. Beautiful footwork, up on his toes, loose-limbed, relaxed guard. Left hand around his belt line from Sonny Edwards. Now he's moving counterclockwise to his right, all the while maintaining the gap between himself and the front foot pressure the challenger is attempting to apply. Beautiful counter right hand once again from Sonny Edwards, catching the advancing Campos. There is the counter left hand, then a right hand with his back to the ropes at figure 8 on the clock face. The heads of the two boxers rubbing together on the inside. Campos cutting a frustrated figure, looking in the direction of Howard Foster as there's a double left hand from Sonny Edwards out of the orthodox stance. Uppercut, then hook, and Sonny Edwards, well, when he lets his hands go, when he elects to let them go and doesn't play counter-puncher, he is capable of hitting Andres Campos with a cluster of punches in a flash. Minute gone in this 8th round, and it's Sonny Edwards now operating as a southpaw boxer. He's back near the red corner, just above our commentary position. Now the two men find themselves entangled. They get themselves back to the space of the middle of the boxing ring. Beautiful counter left hand as a southpaw from Sonny Edwards again, but Campos digging away with his right hand. He takes a counter right hand from Sonny Edwards, whose back is now against the ropes. Campos looking to prise open a gap between the forearms of Sonny Edwards, but Sonny Edwards showing terrific composure, no expression on his face as he just pushes out a combination, all of which scored to both head and body. Terrific punch picking from the champion, but Campos continues his grim forward advance, pinning Sonny Edwards just above our commentary position and looking to slam in hard punches to the body of the fleet-footed champion, but hooking his way off the ropes with hooks from both the left and right hand is Sonny Edwards, and he's swiveling the head of Andres Campos. Some of the shots being caught by the gloves, but Andres Campos again in danger of being put on the end of a bushel of punches without reply. Such wonderful volume and accuracy being produced by Sonny Edwards, who digs in a hard left hand to the body. Campos continuing to press. He knows no other way than to try and come forward and back up the champion, and when he can get him to hold his feet and pin him against the ropes, well, Campos is having success. But here, Sonny Edwards showing his ability to fight off the ropes. Right cross, treble left hook with his back, testing the tension of the strands just above our commentary position. I could reach out and touch him before he walks his way back to center ring. What a left uppercut from Sonny Edwards. It caught Andres Campos as he was advancing, and it just caused Andres Campos to stand tall, and then his knees dipped. There's a check right hand from Sonny Edwards, and a left hand to the body. Beautiful right hand to the body from Sonny Edwards, who turns southpaw, doesn't land a shot. We're going to go over to the blue corner and listening to the instructions of Grant Smith being given to Sonny Edwards.
Oh no, Blue, listen to me. Soak this up now. Don't force it now. The listen to what. Don't try toward.
I like the sound advice, I think, there, Ronald. Don't try it too hard. But the one thing I did think there, Galal, I thought Sonny was starting to get the Campos. I thought Campos looked a bit tired once or twice there, Galal. I really did.
I think when Sonny puts them together, I think he kind of stands still. You can see here, he throws about 10 shots here with no reply.
Yeah, he looked a bit ragged once or twice there, Campos. But then Grant in the corner saying, don't try too hard. So maybe Grant's being a bit mindful of the fact that there's still, 4 rounds left. Interesting.
Round 9.
We're moving to round number 9 of what has been an entertaining contest for the IBF World Flyweight title held by Sonny Edwards. Ranked number 1 by both Ring Magazine and Boxing News, the 2 leading trade publications on either side of the Atlantic. It's a talent-laden 112-pound flyweight division, and Sonny Edwards thinks that he's got the beating of all of them. I was wondering whether he's in danger of overlooking Andres Campos as a contender, because he's constantly calling out the likes of Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Julio Cesar Martinez, the WBC champion. Bam Rodriguez is a WBO kingpin. Artem Delaklian of Ukraine is a WBA champion. So many talented fighters in the 112-pound division. And Sonny Edwards thinks he's got the better of anybody, the weight below and up to 2 weight divisions above. That's a measure of his confidence in his skills. Said that he's going to put on a show-stopping performance tonight, but Andres Campos, as Steve Bunce has already pointed out, proving that he can hang at this level, and here he is digging away with hooks and uppercuts against Sonny Edwards, as Sonny Edwards takes a breather. As his back touched the ropes on the far side of the ring at figure 1 on the clock face, he catapulted off them, but Andres Campos again making hay while Sonny Edwards is resting. Good portion of the round for the challenger, because Sonny Edwards was concentrating on defense and not really letting his hands go. Now he is throwing those clusters of punches which are so capable of bamboozling opponents. And Sonny Edwards, just 4 knockout wins in his 19 wins out of 19. Not the biggest puncher, but on occasion in this contest, his 4th title defense, when he has put combinations together, well, again, it's almost like driving in a rainstorm, and Andres Campos has appeared to be just a little bit bamboozled. There's a beautiful right hook, which again causes Campos to lose his boxing stance. Edwards operating as a southpaw, right, left, right hand to the body, as the 2 men continuing to test the torsos of one another. Shots straying to the belt line, neither boxer complaining as they continue to dig in and contest and challenge the conditioning of their opponents. Counter right hand out of the southpaw stance with a beautiful shot with a lead stick from Sonny Edwards. So again, the pattern resumes when Sonny Edwards elects to hold his feet and take breathers. Campos is brought right into the contest. But when Sonny Edwards is on the move, and perhaps most particularly when he's busy with his hands, he puts clear daylight between himself and his spirited challenger. 25 seconds remaining in the 9th round. Right hand to the body is a hard shot driven in by Campos. Edwards countered with a left, but then terrific 1st and 3rd boxing from the challenger, who's continuing to dig away and burrow away with punches to the body. Nice right uppercut landed during this exchange by Sonny Edwards, but he was outworked during that coming together by Andres Campos. And again, terrific determination being demonstrated by the challenger deep into this world title tilt.
Well, that was a hard round. After Sonny's shown us a couple of rounds ago to make it easy by moving his feet, suddenly in that round there, and he's out again. I thought he was causing some discomfort at Campos. Then Campos had a fantastic last minute, pinning Sonny back on the ropes. This is a hard fight, Galal.
Yeah, it is, and I don't know whether it's Sonny we're having a lapse of concentration, or Campos is just getting better, or I don't know what it is, but I'd lean to Campos that round.
Yeah,
but
same. Do you think there's a chance that when Sonny said, "I don't know what this guy's doing here, he shouldn't be in the ring with me," that he actually meant it?
You know what, it's a good question.
Or was it the showmanship?
I think by knowing Sonny being a world champion, I think he takes everyone quite serious.
I'd like to think so.
Well, he has to, doesn't he?
I'd like to think so. It just seemed to me, even the rounds he's winning, it seems hard. You know what I mean by that, Ronald?
Absolutely. So we move into the 10th round. Andres Campos is still there, given the knockout percentages of both boxers. Most insiders in the trade thought that a stoppage victory wasn't probable, but Andres Campos showing tremendous conditioning and determination. Sonny Edwards looking to back him up for the first time, but that's a beautiful left uppercut to the body of Sonny Edwards from Andres Campos. And just momentarily, Sonny Edwards doubled over and was keen to hold on just in order to get his breath back into his lungs. Terrifically big punch, and then a right hand driven into the body. It was a cross with a palm turned down to the canvas from Andres Campos, finding a space beneath the left elbow of Sonny Edwards, who is now up on his toes, out of the orthodox stance, and looking to maintain the gap between himself and the challenger. Sonny Edwards now looking to get on the front foot, and there's a sharp shooting left jab. Terrifically picked lead left hand from Sonny Edwards. Campos continuing to press, but Edwards now again up on his toes, and Campos for the third time in the contest retreating back to center ring and saying, come on, fight me. But again, as Steve Bunce has pointed out, the onus is on him as the challenger to try and rip the title away from the champion. So Sonny Edwards using his movement, so comfortable in the ring, knows every dimension of it, where the ropes are, as he goes with a check right jab and then a left hand to the body. The check right jab is because he was moving left, and now he's picking off them, advancing Campos with terrific variety, moving clockwise, counterclockwise, changing directions on a dime, and getting terrific leverage into his shots to stop the advancing Campos in his tracks. Just beyond the midway stage of this 10th round. And Sonny Edwards again, when he puts a space between himself and Andres Campos physically, there is a proverbial country mile between them in terms of attainment and ability. When it's at this type of territory, as Sonny Edwards scores with a counter left jab without reply, and then again, more subsequent movement to make Campos' follow-up assault miss. But when he keeps a physical gap between the two, well, there's one boxer in this two-man affair, and it's Sonny Edwards, who scores with a counter right cross, scored on a downward trajectory. When he elects to hold his feet, and perhaps that's to make his affairs more entertaining, because it's not beyond the pale to suggest that Sonny Edwards, in his reign as champion, well, has he lost a round for many observers? Of course, the scorecards will suggest that he has. Felix Alvarado was a couple of rounds down on two of the scorecards, on 116-112 for the third judge, but he's so comfortable in the ring that he seldom appears in jeopardy. When he's held his feet in this contest, he hasn't been in jeopardy, but Campos has been right in it. But here, when he's up on his toes and moving laterally left and right, Sonny Edwards, the far superior boxer in that 10th frame.
Sonny's philosophy, as he told me in the interview on Thursday at the press conference, is long as I've won 7 rounds comfortably, that's fine. Long as I've won 7, I can try and make it 8. Looks a bit this way. Campos has got a new lease of life. About 2 or 3 rounds ago, he started to look a bit ragged. He's come on. He's proved himself to be every bit worthy of being here, and he's giving Sonny a test.
He is definitely, and he's a good fighter. I just think Sonny's one step ahead at the minute. I think he's better when he goes on the back foot, when he boxes. It makes it a lot harder for Campos. You can see how frustrated he's getting. But I just think he just needs to just bank these rounds in and just do what he did last round.
Get the rounds done. You know, you're not going to get an early stoppage because we're already in round 10 or whatever it is. Get the rounds in, or 11. Box sensibly and show yourself what you are. Class.
So Sonny Edwards, oh, that's a beautiful counter right hand after he made Andres Campos fall short with his lead left jab. But it's the 7th consecutive 12-rounder for Sonny Edwards. Of course, he's been a 12-round distance in all of them, no stranger to the championship rounds. This is brand new territory for Andres Campos in his first 12-round contest tonight. But again, remains filled with fighting spirit and energy that he's able to demonstrate. I've got him 7-3 down after 10 completed rounds. Now will the judges Phil Edwards, Marcelka Roldan and Carl Zapier of Australia score it in the event that it goes the distance. Check right hook attempted by Sonny Edwards, and an exquisitely picked left uppercut out of the southpaw stance, with Sonny Edwards approaching the blue corner. He's just on the edge of center ring here. Now changes back to the orthodox stance as Campos, well, he's perhaps a little bit wary of stepping on the gas. There he tries to, but he's met with a check left hand once again as Sonny Edwards spins off to his left. Now he's moving counterclockwise to his right. Sonny Edwards just on the edge of ring center, increases the gap once again, looking for the check left hook once more. But Campos, intelligently keeping the attack going, managed to pin Sonny Edwards to the ropes and land with a two-shot burst of punches to the body. Referee Phil Howard Foster just having to separate the two. Andres Campos was positively champing at the bit to try and get himself back into short and mid-range, which is where he enjoys his success. Or more accurately, whenever Sonny Edwards holds his feet, that's where he enjoys success, because he has scored effectively with a long-range jab to the body. Nice counter left uppercut from Sonny Edwards was the final shot of that trade-off. Sonny Edwards with a darting left jab from around his belt line, penetrating the defense of Andres Campos. Campos with nice head movement, sliding to his right, but then pinged by a right cross from Sonny Edwards, who is a dynamic figure once again, the champion. Currently in the southpaw stance, able to switch on the fly. Check right hand while backing up to his left from Sonny Edwards. There he fired a check right hand while moving to his right. And he's just demonstrating the greater experience, indeed the greater ability and ring craft that he possesses at these respective stages of their careers. But Andres Campos is not giving up the ghost here, continuing to press, continuing to compete in this, his maiden world title bid, seeking to become Chile's first world champion. But there's a counter left uppercut once again after Sonny Edwards making Campos miss and then completing the equation to make him pay. Approaching the 10-second clapper in this penultimate round. And Campos, again, just trying to think his way into distance. Beautiful counter left hand out of the southpaw stance from Sonny Edwards. Swivels the head of Andres Campos, and then Sonny Edwards ending the round beyond punching range, just reversing towards his own blue corner.
I tell you what, he came from Santiago and he wanted to go back to Santiago with a world title. He wanted to go back to Procession. He wanted to go back as their first ever professional world champion, and he has done everything humanly possible tonight, Campos. He's made the fight, he's pushed the fight, he's forced the fight, he's losing the fight, but he's still there.
Yeah, and he's asked to as well, and fair play to him, he's come to win. He ain't stopped coming forward. Like you said, I just think the excellence of Sonny has been a bit too much for Campos, but to be fair, he's come to win and he has done well.
You'd like to go at Campos, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd like to go any of them.
Yeah, I know you would, yeah, but Campos seems to me like a really sensible piece of matchmaking.
I think I'll knock him out though.
There we go, and that's why it's a sensible piece of matchmaking, because then that creates the beautiful problem. See, that's why I'm here to set you up, Galal, with the clean answers, brother.
Steve Bunce moonlighting as matchmaker as the boxers answer the bell for the 12th and final round. Andres Campos, the man from Santiago, surely needs a knockout, but Sonny Edwards, well, it's not that he hasn't been touched in this contest, but when he's up on his toes, he's very difficult to tag cleanly. And I've got Campos trailing 8 rounds to 3 with 11 rounds in the book. But his spirit remains strong and he has the physical capacity to demonstrate it. Magnificent conditioning. Referee Howard Foster hasn't called time, but he's just instructing the red corner to wipe the excess water from just in front of the red corner. And while the action's resuming over at figure 8 on the clock face, Sonny Edwards retreating to the ropes, perhaps sensing that Campos doesn't have the pop to knock him out, and he's standing flat-footed, which brings Campos into the fray once again. Uppercut success off the ropes for Sonny Edwards, walks his way back out to center ring on the chest of Andres Campos. Counter left hand out of the southpaw stance from Sonny Edwards once more, and then a counter right hand catching the advancing challenger. But Campos continuing to press, scores with the left hand beneath the body. Campos with a vicious 2-shot attempt upstairs, both shots off the mark, but his body shots altogether more accurate. And Sonny Edwards, well, he's winning this contest comfortably for my money, and this is 4th title defense, but I think he's going to have some sore ribs tomorrow, because Campos has tested him repeatedly downstairs, but testament to Sonny Edwards' conditioning and commitment that he has shown few ill effects from the punches that he's absorbed. There's a nice right cross from Andres Campos, and another one which was partially blocked by the left glove of Sonny Edwards. The action is directly above our commentary position. Sonny Edwards standing square on the ropes, a full-size target, inviting pressure, and again, Andres Campos capitalizing. Counter right hand from Sonny Edwards out of the southpaw stance. After he was tagged by a shot, he came back with a beautiful lead right hand that jolted the head back of Andres Campos. Now the action is on the ropes on the far side of the ring at figure 1 on the clock face. And Campos right in this contest once again. The greater quality during these toe-to-toe exchanges is coming from Sonny Edwards, who sinks his knees and slams a right hook into the left flank of Andres Campos. But this is engaging, entertaining two-way action when Sonny Edwards elects to hold his feet. But again, testament to his IQ. Sonny Edwards, as Steve Bunce has pointed out, has surely got the 7 rounds in the bag that he sets himself as a target to win. And with that, he's giving the crowd some entertaining fare, because now he haws in 2 shots to the body, then changes the attack to the head, back down to the body, getting the better of that trade-off. But back comes Campos, who was just stood up momentarily by an uppercut from Sonny Edwards. And Sonny Edwards letting his hands go on the 10-second clapper. So to Andres Campos. But again, when he's hit by clusters of punches in quick succession, it stiffens his legs. And all of a sudden, towards the closing bell, Andres Campos' punches becoming a little bit more ponderous. Celebrations abound in the boxing ring. Sonny Edwards sprinting to the neutral corner on the far side of the ring and scaling the second rope, acknowledging the fans here at Wembley Arena. Andres Campos receiving encouragement and applause from his red corner, because it was a spirited maiden world title bid from the Chilean challenger in this his first world title challenge. But make no mistake, Sonny Edwards has surely made a successful 4th defense of his IBF World Flyweight title, and has surely kept himself in contention for those unification fights, Steve.
Absolutely, and listen, he's won it fairly clearly. There were 4 or 5 hardish rounds in there. Campos was, I thought, excellent tonight. I thought he made the fight, he pushed the fight, he defied everything that we thought he might do. He's absolutely exhausted up in that corner, Galal. Look at him. Sonny himself, innocent, he's tired enough as well. He knows he's been in a hard fight. He knows he's been 12 rounds. Don't worry. He might deny it in the interview, but he knows he's been 12 rounds, Galal.
I think that's the difference. I think Sonny was in gear 3 and Campos was doing his best. I think that's just a natural skill set. But it's just a shame Campos ain't got that power, has he, to really hurt you. But fair play to him, he come to win and put a good account of himself up.
He's got a good style, Campos, hasn't he? You kind of like that. You like that style. He's like, you know, if he banged people out with some of those shots, and he's game and he's brave and he's fighting in a massively foreign land. Let's get that right. In a main event against the guy that's been bugging him all week. That was a good performance by him. That's all part of the game. It's all part of the tactic.
And again, he showed that he could deal with that psychological warfare being applied by Sonny Edwards, getting into his face at the face-off on the steps of Wembley Stadium. All the trash that Sonny Edwards was talking, which was being interpreted directly by a member of Andres Campos' team. So he would have been getting a blow-by-blow translation of what Sonny was saying, trying to get under his skin, but he came and he acquitted himself very well indeed in his first 12-rounder.
Listen, I think he did a little bit better than that. I think he's made himself a wanted man. People will want to fight him. You know, we talked to Galal here, only half joking. What about the other champions? You know, he's completely proved that he can bounce from world title fight to world title fight to world title fight. I don't know how he is on the weight. Maybe he goes up to Superfly. Who knows? Campos, we have not heard the last of Campos. With Sonny, I have a feeling Sonny might be mildly disappointed with that performance. I think he might have expected more. I don't think so. I think when he won rounds, clearly he won them comfortably. Let's get it right.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action here at Wembley, London, England, we go to the judges' scorecards. Phil Edwards, Waleska Rodan, and Carl Zappia all scored this bout identically, 117 to 111 for your winner by unanimous decision, and still the IBF Flyweight Champion of the World, Showtime, Sonny Edwards.
So unanimous point decision victory for Sonny Edwards, the 3 judges ringside, returning identical scores of 117, 111 on the cards of Phil Edwards, Waleska Roldan and Carl Zappia of Australia. Sonny Edwards with that red IBF strap over his right shoulder, and he's continuing to talk to anybody who will listen. Now he takes a break from the verbals and poses for the photographers ringside. The red strap over his right shoulder, the left fist raised. Sonny Edwards with a very good display indeed for a successful 4th defense of his IBF World Flyweight title. And again, Jesse Bam Rodriguez put the name of Sonny Edwards in his mouth recently. Julio Cesar Martinez, the WBC champion, also on the radar of Sonny Edwards. And with a performance like that, Steve, in the same promotional stable as Bam Rodriguez, how realistic is it to make those fights that Sonny Edwards so desperately craves?
Well, I think the bottom line is, and I'll talk to him when I talk to him about it, is that it's going to come down to money. It's going to come down to what Bam Bam will want for travelling here. It's going to come down to what Martinez will want for travelling back here, and it's going to come down to what Sonny will be prepared to accept for fighting them, okay? So let's say this was a bronze payment today. That's going to be a diamond payment in the bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. That's going to be a top payment. Remember, Leila, we're talking here. We've been on air a long time. Let people we're talking to know their boxing. Fights don't get made because the reason they don't get made is because of money. Let's get that right. You know, one promoter might hate another promoter. One fighter might hate a fighter. They might be on rival TV channels. One of them might want to fight in South Africa or Saudi Arabia or Yorkshire. But the reason they don't get made is cash. It's that simple. Let's not mince our words. Let's not mess around. No fighter's scared of fighting another fighter. They're scared of fighting another fighter for not enough money. There's a big difference. So if Eddie can find a nice pot, and if he can put that out there, and if he can get Sonny, one of those two guys, great. But that's also gonna require the fans to buy into it. To buy into a guy fighting one of the best world champions, either of those two, they're really good world champions, here in this ring, or in Sheffield, or in Manchester, or across London at the O2. The fans will have to buy into it, because Eddie's not in the losing money business. He's a promoter. He's in the making money business. Nothing wrong with that, Ronald. That's the way the world works. So let's say the fight, it's going to take a good lump of cash. You're going to need a much bigger crowd and a much better crowd than this. So that means we've all got to buy into it. Sorry to sound harsh.
Indeed, but those are the realities of the professional boxing business. No doubting Sonny Edwards' ability up in the boxing ring, his ability to put on a show. Sonny Edwards just speaking to the TV company and the arena here. But Galal, what did you make of his performance? What does it tell you about where you are in your timeline to get yourself in the mix at world level?
I'm already there. There's no question about it. It's not me being deluded. I'm already there. I think Sonny Edwards will tell you that as well.
Indeed.
Spars and everything.
So, you've had challenging contests so far, over 10 rounds. You've boxed at the Garden. You've boxed overseas. What do you have to do so you can knock on the door of those big-time champions at the global level?
Just keep winning. It's very simple. Myself, I don't look too much at other champions. I just do what I've got to do. I'm Olympic champion, and that's not being egotistic. That's just me being me. But I'm sure that fight will get made in the future.
So the thoughts of Galal Yafai, the 2020 and 2021 Tokyo Olympic champion. He and Lauren Price topping the podium for GB. Magnificent series of performances, currently undefeated in the professional ranks. And a man he knows very well indeed, Sonny Edwards, has just made a successful fourth defense of his IBA flyweight crown. Brought Andres Campos into it when he elected to hold his feet and accommodate him in toe-to-toe exchanges. But a very, very good display indeed. Sonny Edwards showing all of his variety, his repertoire to box out of either stances, ability to box on the front foot or the back foot, to ghost away from punches, and his shot selection absolutely exquisite. But Andres Campos deserves immense credit, and as Steve Bunce pointed out, just as Maurizio Lara did when he came over rather unheralded, turned himself into a familiar fixture here on these shores, Andres Campos will have designed to keep himself in world title fights, but surely an opponent for contenders on the rise here in the UK and in North America and Greater Europe as well. So a magnificent performance by Sonny Edwards. He improves his ledger to 20-0. Andres Campos experiencing defeat for the first time as a professional, falling to 15-1. But in his bid to make history, it may have come up short, but he has announced himself on the global stage by hanging tough with Sonny Edwards and proving that he wasn't overawed by the occasion or the accomplishments of the man in the opposite corner. So, Sonny, what is going on with you? When can we expect to see you back in the boxing ring again? Oh, Sonny, we're going to speak to Sonny in a minute. Galal, when are we going to see you back in the boxing ring?
I'm here in August at the minute. Hopefully in my home city, Birmingham. Just got to keep going and I'll keep winning. Hopefully he's fought to be made in the future.
Indeed. How excited are you to box at home up in Birmingham, take big time boxing to the city? We saw Josh Boatsy topping up there recently. How exciting a prospect is that for you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been all around the world, been to New York, boxed in London twice, been to Abu Dhabi, but nothing's better than boxing in your home city in Birmingham, and you know, bringing all your friends and your family out and people that know you to watch you is be a great night.
It most certainly would be. Charlie Edwards ringside here to see his brother Sonny Edwards. They, one of the brilliant boxing set of brothers out of the UK. The forefront, the Smith brothers, with 2 world champions in the 4 fighting brothers of Stephen Smith, Liam Smith, Paul Smith and Callum Smith. Liam and Callum boxing their way to world titles. The Hattons, of course, the Finnegans back in the day. And the man to my left, Galal Yafai, part of a fantastic fistic fighting fraternity, along with your brother Cal, who took world title honours, and Gamal, the European champion. You, of course, a global kingpin as the Olympic champion too.
Yeah, it's. I think I take top spot at the minute. I'm hoping anyway.
Between your brothers, you mean?
I think so. You tell me what you think.
Well, I said it when I was commentating. I had the privilege to commentate on your Olympic triumph and indeed your Olympic debut in Rio. And I think I said that makes you the governor in the household. If you're playing a game of top trumps, you put your Olympic medal on the table, man. It's pretty difficult to top.
I appreciate it, Ron. I salute you.
So Steve Bunce just awaiting the arrival of the champ. We're going to hand over to Steve and get the post-fight thoughts of the champ.
Yeah, I've got Sonny and Eddie coming over. First of all, Sonny, congratulations. Sonny, he did what he said he was going to do. He provided a test. He was there. He was rugged. You did what you do, but I thought you got not bored. I don't want to say bored, but you want a test, don't you? You want a different sort of fight.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I knew physically there wasn't a massive threat. When he was landing and letting his shots go, it weren't half the power of a Moretti, a Wazim, a Mama, even a Alvarado. Definitely an Alvarado, but I was trying to open him up like a can of worms there. I was trying to let him throw a few to find the opening, but when I was finding it, he weren't really going nowhere, or he was taking a few steps backward. It's not in my nature to see the shot and then throw 20, 30 punch combinations, so I'm not going to abandon my percentages to win just to chase some spectacular finish. I'm a winner. I'm a born winner. My son was there today, like you just saw, and winning means everything to me. Everything stands too much up on a high pedestal right now for me to let it slip and let it fall and start from square one again. 20-0. I said 5 fights ago, the next 5 fights will change my life, and now it's up to Eddie. I'm comfortable right now, like Eddie said in Fight Week. I am, genuinely. I could sit here and coast through my contract. Easy fight, but I do not want that. I want to prove myself against the best, because that's where you'll see the best out of me.
I'm going to bring Eddie in a second, but what Eddie was talking about there, I overheard part of that conversation, was that if we can't get any of the 3 other world champions, and I know that disturbs you that there are 3 other world champions at flyweight, then there's a possibility that there's an option maybe going up or going down. Is that something that you would agree with?
Oh, 100%. It was led by me. I was a kilo underweight when I checked my weight on the scales on Friday. When I went to Box Parks, jump on the scales, I was 49.9. I've done the weight absolutely perfectly. My scales are a bit old now, so they're a bit all over the place. So I was just making sure. I tested them. I was a kilo under. I can 100% make light flyweight. The IBF champion, not Shingo. I know Eddie's got him, but I'm also ready for the Superfly challenges. I want to be as many weight world champion, as many time world champion as possible. So up, down, left, right, sideways, up 2, up, down 2, whatever. I don't care. I don't mind.
And just one final question before you go off on baby duties with Chance. Would it be, if in an ideal world, it would be Bam Rodriguez in an ideal world?
He's the best out there. I want the best out there. I don't want third. I don't want to work my way to number 1. I rate him as the best out there. I want him now. Then the others can see me, if I can bother to see them. And if not, Roman Gonzalez, Estrada, Quadros, not Shingo, Teraji, Kayaguchi. There's so many great fighters up and down and around. So if the Martinez's and the Bam Rodriguez has still got shitty ass, then here we go. We'll go to anyone.
And we'll do that. And just finally, I saw earlier on, right at the start of the evening, Charlie came over, your brother. He had a win last night after Exile, and you and him like were smiling at each other. Are we back on? Are we all friends again?
Me and my brother fall out each and every day. We're more on and off than my bird, you know what I mean? We're all right, we're all right.
Listen, I'm going to let you go and you do your stuff with Chance, Sonny. Well done. By the way, mate, you've defended your world title 4 times. You're in a bit of an elite club anyway, so let's get that absolutely straight.
And I'll be real, that was easy. That was all well within myself. That fight there, I was having a little fun. I was trying to get the slip body shot done, but it didn't come. He was very tough. He was very strong. He used every bit of the 10-pound rehydration this morning, so I'm sure he was quite heavy in the ring. How we did that, we don't know, Steve.
Easy now.
Easy now, easy now. Allegedly.
Sonny, thank you very much indeed. Ed, I'll pull you over. It's a joy working with Sonny because we've been around a lot of fighters. You've been around a lot of fighters. When they say, "Oh, I'll fight anybody," what they mean is, "Well, I'm not really sure. See what you can do." When he says, "I'll fight anybody," I've got a feeling that he means it.
Yeah, and in his contract, he's already signed to fight him. That's the great thing about it is, I haven't even got to talk to him. I've just got to tell him the date. And sometimes you sign a contract with a fighter and the big ones are to be negotiated and it's a pain in the backside. And with him, he's just gone, look, give me this money for these fights, I'll take them all. And we've done the deal. So all we've got to do is do the other half. And hopefully, and I think after tonight, look, it was a good performance. For 6 rounds, it was spectacular. Yeah, and then I think he just, gave a few rounds away, was trying a few things. And I think the other champs might look at it, hopefully, and say, you know what, I believe I can beat him. And he's willing to go home, away, wherever it is. He is a fighter that I think can win and unify the division. But you're going to see the best of him in those fights.
And you talk about if his side's done financially with Bam Rodriguez, is it a case that you've got to find a decent sized pot to get him in what should be a massive fight?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the pot to do it, and it's just really if you believe you can win. I think we see a lot of times in matchmaking fights, if a fighter in the team believes they can win, they're very keen to make the fight. If they don't, they won't, a la Tyson Fury, and others. So. But that's all right, because if you really fancy it, and hopefully one of the other champions will fancy it, I think they will, because I think someone like Jesse Rodriguez wants to chase legacy. He's already won he's a 2-division world champion. Now he wants to unify and become undisputed. So hopefully we can get it over the line.
And just finally on this, I'm going to ask you a question about the two other women's world title fights in a second. Just lightly on this, Sonny, you're excused, son. Sorry, I should have excused him earlier. You mentioned there, and he said it was his idea. The idea that if he can't be one of the 3 other flyweight champions, it will be one of the superflies, or one of the guys down low. Is that possible?
When you've had 4 defences of the world title, like what else is there to... If you start wasting someone's career by just defending the championship, you never get the chance to do multi-weight world championship, unified, undisputed, all the things that fighters want to do. He's chasing their legacy. And, that's refreshing to see. And I think light flyweight, super flyweight, I think he can do either. But let's see him unify next.
Let's have a little bit of fun now. Is Nina Hughes the best 40-year-old fighter in the world right now?
I mean, she's relentless. I mean, super fit, doesn't stop coming forward. Was against an awkward late notice opponent and did what she had to do, sort of wear it down. I love Nina Hughes against Ebony Bridges. I think it's a real old school tear up. It's good to see her walk out as world champion tonight. It's a great story. And Ellie Scottney as well. I thought it was a real high-level fight between those two. Shanika Johnson was great as well, but Ellie was the level above, and a big win for her and another British world champion.
Yeah, Ellie was one of those ones where after about 8 rounds, I was looking over her in the corner and she nodded over at me at one point, and I thought, hope I don't have to interview her. I might get a bit teary because it was a bit emotional.
It was, because boxing's her life, really. From growing up in Catford, you see the pictures of her as an 8-9-year-old in the gym, going up, being part of Team GB. It's all she does. She lives for it. So to become a world champion is everything to her. And I think she has the ability to go on like Sonny Edwards and fight the other champions as well.
Yeah, just on the subject of other champions, there's so many women with like 7 or 8 pounds between them, 6 or 7 of them. We could have some competitions here. We could have some giant competitions. 2 semi-finals on one night, final and 3rd and 4th place on another night.
When you've got super bantam, obviously you've got Ellie Scottney, you've got Ebony Bridges at bantam, Nina Hughes at bantam. At featherweight, you've got Amanda Serrano. At super featherweight, you've got Alicia Baumgardner. You've got so many. You've got Ramla,
big name.
You've got Sky Nicholson. You've got all these other fighters. So there's all of a sudden, and even down we saw Shannon Ryan tonight. I thought it looked really good as well. You've got young Maisie Rose. Those 2 in a year could be a big fight for a world title. That's what you need. You need 3 or 4 fights in each division that people are calling on, and you're starting to get the depth now.
Ed, thanks very much indeed. I'll see you soon. Where are you off to next, by the way? Sorry.
Straight out to New Orleans, mate.
Go on, son. Give my love to Regis. Ron, It's been a bit entertaining night, hasn't it? Let's get it right. We've seen world title fights, blood, guts and glory. And Sonny did his obligatory, dropped some sort of swear word. Hey-ho, that's the way it works, brother.
Indeed, Steve. Thank you very much indeed. Steve Bunce getting the thoughts of tonight's promoter, Eddie Hearn. And just prior to that, Sonny Edwards, who successfully defended his IBF flyweight title for the 4th time. That was a main event on what was a bumper bill of professional boxing here from Wembley Arena. 3 world title fights. It was Nina Hughes, the incredible buzzsaw from Billericay in Essex, who made a successful first defense of her crown with a unanimous point decision victory over the late replacement Katie Healy from Wolverhampton. Then Siobhan Clark in the sternest test of his career in a final eliminator for the British Cruiserweight title, dropping and stopping David Jameson with a 5th round TKO, dropped him in the 4th round, then dropped him in the 5th when Jameson spiritedly answered the bell to try and get himself back in contention, but referee Bob Williams waved it off. Then we had Ellie Scotney in a maiden world title bid against Shanika Johnson of Australia, and it was Ellie Scotney, a unanimous points decision victory for the woman from Catford, dethroning Sweet Meeks to claim that world title. Johnny Fisher, the ticket-selling phenomenon from Essex, the Romford Bull, with a 1st round stoppage in a bout that was touted as his final 8-rounder, but given the lack of resistance that was shown by Emilio Salas, while he may require sterner tests before stepping up to the 10-round distance. And in our main event, Sonny Edwards producing another veritable masterclass against Chile's Andres Campos, who was spirited but was ultimately outpointed 117-111 for another unanimous points decision verdict for Sonny Edwards, who retains his IBF flyweight title and is among the 4 kings at 112 pounds and continues to call out champions from weight divisions either side of him. Well, that just about concludes what has been a really entertaining night of boxing from Wembley Arena. So on behalf of the entire team, ringside reporter Manveer Rai, our analysts and professional fighters, Galalia Fai, the Olympic champion, and the former WBA super welterweight queen, Hannah Rankin, Steve Bunce, our expert analyst and 5 Live regular, and producer Patrick Whiteside, it just remains for me, Ronald McIntosh, to say thank you for staying with us and ensure that you stay across the BBC website and BBC social channels to keep up with all that is going on in the world of boxing. Thank you very much indeed, and we'll see you again very soon.